Welcome, yes, to your favorite learning program, Matrics Uploaded, with your favorite subject, accounting. And yes, I'm Ashraf Patel, taking you on this journey. And what are we doing today? In today's lesson, we are looking at VAT, Value Added Tax. Now remember, VAT is the acronym for Value Added Tax. Now, if you look at VAT, why is it important? Remember, to the South African government, it's an important source of revenue for our budget. And as you may have heard recently, remember the Minister of Finance announces the budget around about February sometime. And you would see how people are waiting anxiously to see what is going to do with taxation. So value-added tax is just one source of taxation in the South African economy and an important feature of the South African budget. What is it about? Remember, it is a tax that is levied on certain goods and services. Now, important is that Joe citizen at the end of the day has to pay the VAT on that good or services. If we look at a definition of VAT, what can we say? VAT is charged on the supply of goods or services by a vendor. That means a supplier. The general rule is that the vendor charges the consumer a standard rate of 14%. Now that is important. Now obviously this percentage can be adjusted by the government and by the Minister of Finance from time to time as the need arises, and if the government needs to secure more taxes, if more taxes are needed, then remember this figure can be adjusted, and that's an important consideration like I alluded to earlier on. Remember, what happens is the expectation that is created around the budget speech. Yes, everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen. What is the minister going to do with regards to the rate at which VAT is levied on goods and services? Okay, so currently the VAT rate is at 14%. Now, there are certain supplies on which VAT is not levied, and these would include the following. Private sales of personal or domestic items. This item here is not subjected to VAT. Another one, hobbies or private recreational pursuits. In other words, if you are busy with a hobby and if you're involved in that hobby, then there would be no VAT when you are dealing with that particular hobby, unless this becomes a business. Salaries and wages are also not subjected to VAT. So understand that all of these, there's no VAT that is levied on these items here. It is compulsory for all businesses with the sales with turnover in excess of 1 million rand per annum to register as a vendor. Registered vendors are then issued with the necessary forms and documents which they must submit to SARS every second month together with the amounts payable. So important information here is that if you have a turnover in excess of 1 million rand per year, it is compulsory to register for VAT. Obviously, if it is below 1 million, you may still register, but you are then what is called voluntary registration. And if you are below a certain amount, then you may not register as a VAT vendor. Okay, now, if we have to summarize this information, what have we said? We have said the following. Number one, VAT would include what we term as value-added tax. What's important to note that the current rate of VAT is 14%. Okay? So that's very important because this is going to impact on the calculations that we'll be doing later on. Number 2, there are certain items that do not have VAT attached to them. Amongst them that we have mentioned, if we look at this slide, we will see that these would include private sales of personal or domestic items, certain hobbies or private recreational pursuits, and salaries and wages. Keep this in mind, because as we go on, you will see how we build on and more things become evident to you. Right, what else can we summarize as important? We've also said that once your turnover exceeds R1 million, then definitely it is compulsory to register as a VAT vendor. Right? Once you are registered as a VAT vendor, then this means that you are now a registered VAT vendor. You have to comply with certain forms that you fill in, and these must be submitted to SARS every second month. So in this way here, you can see that there are strict controls around VAT from the government side to ensure that businesses meet their deadlines with regard to SARS returns when it comes to VAT. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're coming to the end of this particular section of our lesson. You can see that this involves a lot of theory, but keep with us because just now we're getting into more detail regarding VAT.